Hey boys, what's going on? It's your boy Clazo here today, guys, and today I'm bringing you something pretty cool. So, PC Gamer released 12 new cards. I think it's 12 new cards, so I'm doing it a little differently. So all these cards are going to be on the cards that PC Gamer released. So, they are pretty cool. They are pretty interesting. So, as we know, Magmar, Vitruvian, and Linar got tile spaces like Primal Flourish, I forgot the Vitruvian one, and Hollowed Ground. So, what is Vaynar, Abyssinian, and Songai getting? They are getting Sentinels, which is pretty cool, and something I'm very, very excited for. And I'm going to explain to you guys how these Sentinel things work, and stuff like that. So, each class has 3 different Sentinels and a Token Sentinel. The Token Sentinel is the same for all 3 Abyssinian, Vaynar, and Songai. They are called Watchful Sentinels. Whenever you summon another Sentinel onto the field, it will show this Watchful Sentinel instead. Like, this is a Abyssinian Watchful Sentinel. So if I summon Bound Tormentor down here, it's actually going to come up as Watchful Sentinel, a 3/3. So basically, what a Sentinel is this transforms into a powerful minion if its hidden condition is met. Now, the hidden condition is the card that you actually summon. So if I summon Bound Tormentor, his Sentinel is minion summoned. So basically, to get my Bound Tormentor out, I need my opponent to summon a minion. And what this does is put a copy of that minion that transformed this into your action bar. It costs 2 less. So if my opponent plays a Grandmaster Zendo, this will flip, is what they're calling it. It will flip, and then my Watchful Sentinel will flip into Bound Tormentor, and then I will get a 4-mana Grandmaster Zendo into my hand, which is pretty dope. So that's kind of how Sentinels work. Now I want to lay down some basic stuff with you guys before we hop into it. I'm actually going to switch pages here, and we're gonna flip over to the Reddit, and I just want to clarify some stuff because Thanatos here, he basically said it. So Sentinels are placed into your deck like any other card. The Watchful Sentinel is a token. When you play a Sentinel, it summons a Watchful Sentinel token instead. Like I said, only your opponent on their turn can proc a Watchful Sentinel if they fulfill the Sentinel's requirements, which I kind of told you about. Sentinels flips occur. I can't read. Sentinels flip occur first, meaning they will transform into their respective card before a minion is summoned. The general attacks or the spell resolves. It depends on like what the Sentinel ability is. There's either general attack, minion summon, or think spell, or opponent plays a spell, something like that. So with these things, I want to come down here and clarify some other stuff that he said. So with the flip ability, you can't dispel it at all. You can like dispel the Watchful Sentinel if your opponent buffs it for some reason, but you cannot dispel the flip. So I may be using flip to describe stuff, but it's a transform effect. If you pre-buff a 3/3 token, once it swaps to its real form, the buffs are lost. You can dispel any buffs on a Watchful Sentinel like a regular minion. You just can't remove its ability to flip, in case that wasn't clear. Damage and health rules apply here, just like transforms. It's a new card, so no existing damage buffs get applied. Fiends are the same as Varix Cassava's 2-drop 4/4 minion. So they're like the 4/4 minion to get out of like Grandmaster. So that's how I want to explain these cards. So now let's talk over all of them and see if they're playable and see if they're not playable. So first off, here is the Abyssinian Watchful Sentinel. It's pretty cool looking. I like it if it's an Abyssinian theme. It's very shadowy, and I think it's looking cool. Alright, so let's hop into the actual Sentinels. Now, I already talked about the first one, which is Bound Tormentor. It's a 3-mana 2/3 with Sentinel, minion summon, so my opponent has to summon a minion. Put a copy of that minion that transformed this into your action bar. It costs 2 less. Like I used the example, Grandmaster Zendo. I think it's very playable. Very control kind of Abyssinian decks will play this card, I think. And I think it's a pretty cool card. I think it will definitely see some play. Stealing my opponent's minions is amazing. I think that's going to be super fun to play. Getting you some very cheap minions early game. We might even see this maybe in an aggressive deck just to spam out some more minions early on. So yeah, I really like the card. I think it's pretty cool. And your opponent is definitely going to summon a minion. So this is going to be a very easy flip. Let's move on to our next one. Skull Prophet is actually a really, really, really dope animation. Look at that skull that comes up. That is some cool looking shit. So this one's a 3-mana 3/3 with Sentinel. Oh, by the way, I think they're all 3 mana. All of them are 3 mana. So they're all 3 mana. So this one's a 3/3 with Sentinel, general attack. So the general has to attack me. The enemy general has -1 attack. So that would drop everyone down. This really would only suck against Vath, because Vath can just build it back up anyway. But everyone else would only have 1 attack, which is actually really strong. Because if you think about it, how many times does a general trade into like a 2-drop minion? So this could be really strong against some decks. I think it depends on the matchup though. So this card may or may not see play, just because it depends on your matchup that you get. But I might play it just because of the animation. I love it. I think it looks cool. I think the art for it's really cool. And yeah, it's a pretty dope card. So yeah, let's keep moving on. I don't even know how to begin to pronounce this guy, but he's a 3/2 with Sentinel Spellcast. So my opponent has to play a spell. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, put a 4/4 Fiend into your action bar. Woo! Wow. How much does it cost? I think they cost 2. Oh, that's what I think. Fiends are the same as Varix, Cassivus, 2-drop 4/4 Fiend. So yeah, I think they're 2-drop minions. Oh wow, that's really dope. It sucks that he's a 3/2, but it's understandable because he's giving you a 4/4 in hand. So yeah, this is pretty cool. It's a 3-drop 3/2 that when your opponent plays a spell, you get a 4-drop minion. I don't think this is as playable as, say, the Bound Tormentor or the Skull Prophet. I think Bound Tormentor is probably the best Abyssinian Sentinel here. Just because it's easier to flip because of minion summon. I think Spellcast is going to be a little harder unless you're playing like a Vaynar deck, or you're playing a if you're playing Vaynar, or if you're playing Songhai, it might be easier to play. A lot of other factions, I mean, they play spells, but not as much as those two. So we'll see if this card sees play or not. But the 4/4 Fiend is really nice, and that's a pretty strong minion for 2 mana. So we may or may not see this card in the future. Not sure yet. Not sure yet. I do like it though. I like its animation. I love all the animations for these cards. I think they're dope. This kind of has that Sojourner effect with that thing spinning around them. Alright, so let's move on, man. We are moving on to Songhai. Now, the Songhai Watchful Sentinel reminds me of the Flash. I don't know why. Like I said, he's a 3-mana 3/3, just like the Abyssinian one. And he transforms into a powerful minion if its hitting condition is met. So same. So the first minion is 100-handed Rakushi. I want to call him Rikishi like the wrestler. He's a 3/4, which is actually, I think, the strongest one we've seen so far. With Sentinel, minion summon, so it's an easy one to proc. Deal 2 damage to the minion that transformed this. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. So, this is going to see play, right? One, your opponent's always going to summon a minion. Most of the time. Every turn, going to try to summon a minion, right? So he's going to summon it, and this is going to flip into a pretty powerful minion at that. A 3/4 is very strong for 3 mana. And then you get to deal 2 damage to that minion. So you could potentially even kill that minion. Like, so you're setting your opponent back, and then you just got a 3/4 on the field. So, oh my god. This card's going to see play. Very strong. Very strong. Able to kill off the minion that flips this. And you guys see it as a 3-mana 3/4. I mean, you're still playing it on 3, and you're getting a Watchful Sentinel. So, that's pretty cool. So, like, good card. Very good card. Its Watchful Sentinel stats are going to be like, this is better than Watchful Sentinel stats, which is great. Wow. Definitely going to see play. 100%. Able to kill off that minion's very strong. Even dealing 2 damage to a minion's very strong, because you can kill it off with something else. And this is going to set your opponent back. And we already talked about how like, Songhai is getting a lot of minion-based cards. If we saw earlier, I talked about Twilight something, I forgot it. But I showed that in another video earlier today about how you get 5 random minions, Songhai minions that cost 1 less, and this would actually be a nice one to get. So, yeah, keep that in mind as we're going over these cards, that these add to the, that new card, that Twilight one. Let's keep moving down. Minding Cage Oni, a 4/3 Sentinel, once again, very strong. Sentinel Spellcast, so it's one of the harder ones to proc, I think. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, put a copy of that spell into your action bar. What? Yeah, very strong again, man. Is this going to be strong? Is it going to be worth playing to try to get the Spellcast, though? I mean, like I said, it depends on the matchup, and it depends on who you're playing. Some people play a lot of minion-heavy decks, and sometimes you don't see a lot of spells. Sometimes you do see a lot of spells. Most likely you will. Hey, you gotta think, spells also count as BBS, so actually they won't be that hard to proc now that I think about it. So yeah, you know, we might actually see this. Being able, I wonder... The spellcast has to be like your BBS, right? Because that counts as a spell. So would you be able to get a copy of like your opponent's BBS? That'd be pretty cool. I don't know. We'll see if it sees play. The problem with all these cards is that, you know what? You're probably running Lantern Foxes, and like on top of Lantern Foxes, you want to run like Key Beholders. There's a lot of cards you want to run, and these are all 3-drops. So, don't know how I feel about this. Song is very heavy on 3-drops. That's with all these cards. I still think they might see play in some decks. I still think this card's good. I don't think it's a bad card. If they do flip it, you get a copy of whatever spell they play, which is really nice. They might play some really good stuff. And if you're playing Vaynar, you know you're getting a removal spell because that's all they play. So, yeah, you know what? It's not a bad card. It's pretty cool. I do like its animation as well. Let's move on to the last card. Now, this one, I think, is probably the best one of them all. Now, this is Mizuchi. I don't know. He's a 2/5 with Sentinel. General attack, so your general has to attack you to transform this. And then, if your general attacks you, they don't know you have this on board, so you can set up for some big plays, because this thing has flying and backstab too. So, if your opponent attacks you, this transforms into this. They can't do nothing about it now, right? Say they don't have removal, they ended their turn. Now you have a 2/5 on field that is able to move, and they didn't expect it coming. So you can hit this thing with a Killing Edge, get card draw off the backstab. Out of all of them, I think this one's going to see the most play because it has flying and backstab too. And this pairs very well with Killing Edge because you get the card draw. These two are also very good, like I said, but I definitely think this one's the best. I love the animation for this card. It is beautiful. This card is definitely going to see some play. Definitely going to see some play, even in backstab shenanigan decks. But like, if you're playing a lot of backstab cards, it's kind of obvious that you're playing this one. So we'll see. I do like this card a lot, though. I think it's pretty cool, and I definitely think it's going to see play. Like I said, the fact that you have flying and backstab on this card is going to be nuts, and the fact that your opponent won't see it coming is going to be nuts. And like Killing Edge on this is going to be crazy. Let's keep moving on to Vaynar. Vaynar's Watchful Sentinel, pretty cool looking. You know, fits their theme very well. We're just gonna walk, you know, keep going down. I was gonna say walk past it, but we're not walking, we're scrolling. So, the first one we're gonna talk about is Drake, I don't know, whatever it's called, Dowager. The 3 mana, 1/3 with Sentinel. General attacks, so your general has to attack you with ranged. Whenever this attacks, summon a 4/4 flying Drake nearby. Now that's crazy. I think this card's definitely going to see some play. So you're getting a 3/3 Watchful Sentinel. You can even play it aggressive too. You don't want to play it too defensive because then your opponent's going to know it's this one. So you want to play it pretty aggressive, and then when your general attacks, it transforms into this, and hopefully it just stays alive. And then you move back. Now you have a range minion. You get an attack in, and then you get a 4/4 Drake as well. Definitely a very powerful card. If you're playing like a minion based Vaynar deck, this is going to be a strong card. Probably not strong in control, but definitely going to see playing some minion-based Vaynar decks, which isn't really a big thing. Maybe even aggro Fae might see this card. I think it's a pretty good card. I definitely think it's going to see play just because you're able to get this big flying Drake near you, and that's every time you attack. So if if you keep this card alive, it's going to be really hard for your opponent to remove this. Let's keep moving down to Freeblade. It's a 3/5. Oh my god. Sentinel, minion summon. So when your opponent summons a minion, this switches positions with that minion that transformed it. Oh my god. So you switch positions with the minion that your opponent just summoned. So you're able to get a big 3/5 next to your opponent if they play it right next to you. Or if they play a minion all the way back, like far near, like say some range minions. And you, oh my god, you throw this back there. Say you buff this card. I know Vaynar doesn't have a ton of buffs, but if you buff this card, it's going to be nuts. I think this card might see play, man, just because it's a 3/5 body, and you can potentially get behind your opponent with this card and do some fancy plays. You could actually, you know, it would pair very well with this card if you're pushing onto your opponent's side of the board. Your opponent's trying to push at you, plays a minion far in the back, you switch with this. They play a minion, this switches with that, and then next turn you hit it with a that card that gives a minion +4/+4 if it's on your opponent's side of the board. I forget what it's called, but that would be crazy with this card. Yeah, let's keep moving down, though. Definitely think that card's going to see play. And the last card we got to talk about today is called Moonlight Basilisk. Or Basilisk? I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a 2/2 with Sentinel. Spellcast. So your opponent has to play a spell. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, this minion gains +3/+3, which is crazy. That means when your opponent plays the first spell, this turns into a 5/5 instead of a 2/2. And then if your opponent plays another spell, it becomes an 8/8. This card's going to be nuts. It's going to be very powerful. This card will see play in aggro variant decks. I can tell you that now. I know this card is definitely going to see some play. Definitely if you're playing, like, your opponent's going to play a spell at one point, even if it's a BBS, this card's going to be very strong as a 3-mana 5/5, basically, is what you're getting. So I like this card. I think it's going to see play. Like, literally all these cards I think could see play. I think probably the worst card here is probably, like, I feel like the Abyssian ones are probably, like, the worst. Like, this one's not that great, I don't think. Fall Prophet's, like, okay. Like, Bounce Worm Mentor is crazy. This one's going to see play. But, like, I feel like the rest of them, like Vaynar's minions and Songai's minions seem pretty good to me. Like, this flying one's going to be nuts with Backstab. But anyways, that's really all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a thumbs up. Let me know if I missed anything about these cards. Like I said, I was just going off things off the top of my head. They're going to be new for everyone. I'm pretty sure everyone's going to find some. There's going to be some broken combo with these cards, and I'm super excited for it. Sentinel looks extremely fun. I'm more excited for the Sentinel cards than I am for the Tile cards, to be honest with you guys, because I think they're going to be fun. Your opponent's not going to expect anything coming, and it's a lot of board stuff, and I love it. Love it. Keep it coming, duelists. I appreciate it. But other than that, I'm your boy Clazo. Hope you guys keep on dueling, and I will see you guys next time.